funnily enough, Apollo's kind of out of stuff to say about our level. Mostly he's just here to talk about our stats now. This is probably because at this point in the game we're, like, as a multiple, not nearly as far ahead as we were before.
I was gonna say, the game has equally noticed that it no longer has anything particularly funny to say about the whole situation.
I mean, there is really only so much that you can milk this joke. Even if they did find a way to work Lear's whole sadness deal into this, which I can see that working. But no, you are, in fact, even more correct than you think, because Apollo doesn't even have a new failure dialogue for us at this point. He just reuses the same one from Fyro. Which, like, come on. That's not right. So obviously we're gonna go with the shutout. By the way, I don't think I've ever shown the non-God Sphere guard arts. Here it is. It's Proximity Blast, it's a big explosion. It can be good.
I'm pretty sure this is also the same shit he said the last time.
Not quite. He's very much continuing along the same arc, but this is actually an original conversation. Jern noticing that we're sad is pretty much the same, but we're gonna need a new justification for this one. So yeah, you said it. There's still no actual reason for anybody to be certain one way or the other, but Joan is the first one that we see at least acknowledging the possibility.
I mean, I don't get the feeling that Leia would turn it off even if she could, but you know.
She absolutely would not. But, you know, that's just a detail. Nobody needs to know that. Joan is, of course, completely fine with this. It was raised as an observation in the thread that Joan only likes two things: shopping and taking his time. And yeah, that extremely tracks. Joan is fine with this because it means that he can just chill and look at stuff and take time exploring the game. I was really hoping that Apollo would at least have something about, hey, are you literally doing wave puzzles already? But no. Lazy developers.
It really does seem that, like they must have just completely fucking ran out of steam on that, because, like I said, it really does not make any sense that they would go to the trouble of putting together this thing where all of the characters remark about how blatant of a cheater you are and how you're doing all this damage and it's all bullshit, and then not remark on literally anything else.
I can see the thought process. The thought process is, that stuff is not on the critical path. Like, this whole deal is very much patchwork. It is layered on top of the bits of game that are already there. They do this by altering dialogue files, which for the most part are characters. Associated with a character is a list of generic lines that they can say at any point during combat, and associated with enemies are things that certain characters will say about them if they're in the party, subject to priority order, etc, etc, etc. And there's only so much that you can bolt onto the game to add cool stuff like this. And I've seen the game files. It's all JSON. It's a mile deep. There's like a million billion nested things of arbitrary depth. It's a mess. It took me an hour to write a script that can grep for dialogue lines. I mean, the developers would have had tools to do this stuff, but like, I think it's a shame, yes, that they weren't able to go deeper on the New Game Plus commentary. And I'm all in place to joke about them being lazy because that's kind of funny, but to be completely serious, I can totally understand why the New Game Plus stuff is as shallow, quote unquote, as it is. And I respect the hell out of the depth that we got. But of course, we'll never not be sad about not having got more. I mean, we're gamers, right? We gotta do this at some time. Now, Sir Starblob is a weird fight in the context of all this, because obviously you've got to do the slime rush thing, but no matter how many of them you kill, it doesn't seem to affect his health. And when he's blobbed up, he actually has enough defense to deal with our hits. So I was fully geared up to like, right, well, I guess I'm gonna have to Dark Souls this. That caused me to experience a not inconsiderable amount of despair. And then a weird thing happened. We managed to nail him while he was mid-spawn, but he didn't die. Instead, he spawned over here with his full health, but in his 4th phase. And his 4th phase does not have the defense to tank us. So I don't know what the hell was going on there. Fucking video games, man. Zervatar is not really very much of a thing. It's probably the temple that gets the most trivialized by this, frankly. It's kind of astonishing how few nightmare rooms it ends up having. Speaking of really weird stuff that happens in Heaven or Hell mode, it turns out that if you kill these posts quickly enough, you can just skip the whole thing, which I was very grateful for in this room. Cause, let me tell you, I was not looking forward to having to Dark Souls this room. Like, Christ. Anyway, I guess we should talk about the cats, huh?
They seem like they would be a little obnoxious.
Yeah. They're fast, they're dodgy, there's a lot of them, they do passive damage, they can kill you in the overworld even. They're quite something. Also, we were talking about other stuff at the time, but I would like to observe for the record that it is categorically impossible to do the Guy's Garden quests without killing any of the Wiccaps, because there is that one in Katara's house that A, will just immediately kill you when you walk in the door if you're not ready for it, and B, that you absolutely have to kill because you cannot pick up the key while you are in combat. So, welcome to Hell. This is probably the room that anyone who knows what the deal is with CrossCode New Game Plus was waiting to see me suffer during, and I have come to deliver. There are a total of 12 cats in this room. There are some techs that are helpful against Shockats, and we can't use them because we only have 1 SP, and we can't get any more quickly enough to be helpful. So, just in case anybody was actually taking bets on how many tries it would take, I've included a helpful counter so you can enjoy my pain. Ordinarily, I would say that key pulse is the most useful thing, because, you know, it's big, it's wide, it hits in a big area, it knocks them back, they're weak to it, it's got many great things, but normally the saving grace of level 1 techs is that they are spammable. And in Heaven or Hell mode, nothing is spammable. You need a couple of level 1 techs that you can do only a few of, which basically means it's all warp decoy. This is a study in effective use of warp decoy. That was a fake out. I actually died 17 times. Sorry. Here is the actual take. The key about Shockats is that they are passively able to dodge basically anything you can throw at them, right up until they attack you. When they gear up to attack, they will sit in place for a bit, and then they will charge directly at you. And you have got to shoot them at that exact point, and no sooner. By the way, the warp decoys also die really quickly. I don't know if that's because they have a set health or if there's something else going on, but no. Cannot believe I took the encyclopedia report seriously. There is probably something fairly interesting that you can do in this fight if you get the right shot in quickly enough. I tried it here. I thought I could get both the ape and the whale dying at the same time, but he jumped out of the way too fast. So we just nailed him here.
So, is this actually a one-hit kill mode, or does it just do, like, a fixed, ridiculous damage number, and it just so happens to be enough that it kills basically anyone and anything?
It does fair damage. That fair damage happens to be on the order of billions, and most things in the game don't have more than hundreds of thousands of hit points. Enemies with very, very high conditional defense can actually take a hit. You might have seen like 1 or 2 of them in the video if you were really paying attention, but the New Game Plus damage is like, it is actually big numbers. It is not a straight up one-hit kill. Unlike the thing on us, which is technically what it does is it reduces our hit points to 0. But that is a technicality, and we can avert it with technical things like the once more skill. Anyway, just then I showed that Jern has a single line of dialogue here that you can basically only see by coming here with Jern and nobody else in your party. I don't understand why they did this. Also, they really, really, really did not want you to miss this chat with Emily, so if you come here without her, she just shows up here and basically says all this stuff to you anyway. If there is an actual criticism that I will level at the style of dialogue placement in CrossCode is that there is not nearly enough leaning on the party system. Shizuka, of course, is really not pleased about the damage thing. It's so stupid, she says, continuing the duels. I don't know, I'm kind of inclined to defend this game against literally every accusation, but I got nothing for this one. They should have done this one differently. Instead, I'm going to note that I went and looked up how this fight actually determines when it ends. And the answer is you get 12 points, I'm doing the air quotes again, and the counter increases by 2 every time you win, and 1 every time you lose, unless you have enabled Leah Must Die, or if, I think it's if you've enabled Sergei, one of the new game parts. If you enable that one, then you only get 1 point for winning, which is why we're going to see like 12 rounds here. So I guess what that means is that you're allowed to lose up to 3 rounds if you want to get the trophy. If you lose 4, then you can't win before you're interrupted. Fun CrossCode facts that I looked up, actually in the game files. Emily takes the correct approach. Sergei does not. So, I believe previously I mentioned hell. I mean, you can probably imagine already, right?
I mean, this area wasn't very good to begin with, so...
But you don't know the half of it. Because I made a terrible, terrible mistake. I did not fully clean out Vermilion Wasteland when I came here the first time in this final, so there are a bunch of shortcuts that you're supposed to use to get to the Evotars in the higher places that were not available to me. So, I had to do some maneuvering to get to some of these in time. It was not fun. This took me 6 hours from my life that I could have spent doing literally anything else. It probably actually would have been faster to just go back and redo the first part of Vermilion Wasteland and sort this out. Anyway, me being me, I will of course stand this segment, even though it does have flaws, but I think it overall does actually work. But this right here, this is entirely my own fault, but it is also hell. Fuck all things. Also, lest you forget, you still have to, you know, actually dodge the endlessly respawning enemies and all of their attacks. You can dodge the laser, but it's a lot spicier than otherwise. Really just a big barrel of fun. Also, I believe we went over the first time that if there is an Evotar with a laser catcher active, the laser will attack really quickly, because the game's trying to do a quality of life feature. And in anything other than CrossCode Heaven or Hell, that's a really considerate thing. But, whoops. Why? Why did I do this to myself? Also, yes, remember in the second part of this, we start getting interesting pattern lasers. You can't hide from these under the laser pointers. They do splash damage. Fuck my life! Now, you might think, with respect to all of that this part would also be its own special hell. And for about 30 seconds, you'd be completely correct. But remember about 30 seconds ago when I said that when there is an Evotar with a laser catcher up, the main laser will attack really quickly? Well, there's very good news about that. When the laser is attacking very quickly, the laser will only do its regular attack. It will never do the pattern attack. So if you want this bit to not be hell, all you have to do is not zap the Evotars at the first available opportunity. Then you only have to deal with like maybe one Shredder spawning every 10 seconds or so, and maybe one laser every however often it is. Fun CrossCode facts. The final turret 9s have a total invulnerability to everything but the correct element through the shield, so you can't cheese them with Sergei hacks. However, you can kill them in one hit and phase skip them, so that's nice. Pro tip for the big battle on the 3rd floor: do not stand in a corner. Seasoned advice from your veteran guide. I'm very happy to have helped. Also, watch your back when you are moving between phases. This not only sucks, it is incredibly embarrassing. I cannot recommend it. Anyway, if you manage to not comically faceplant yourself at the first and second available opportunities, the rest of this fight is a complete joke. It's really just there for your satisfaction after having lived through the first bit. Alright, final boss man. Let's go. Alright, yeah, wait, what? Ah, shit. He's rebalanced himself. It would be Gotham, wouldn't it? Well, I've got good news. He hasn't rebalanced himself totally. He's multiplied his health, but not by quite as much as we've multiplied our attack. Therefore, if you're really serious about not having to Dark Souls this entire fight, you can absolutely chain stun him. If you're really good, you can get through all 7 phases like this. But for the most part, it's most likely you will eventually fail and have to eat one of these. So good luck with that, and I really hope it's the fire one, because the other ones all really fucking suck. I'm not completely sure that that attack discrepancy isn't deliberate, and is there to give you an out to discover if, like me, you went deep into CrossCode heaven or hell and found yourself despairing. Ah well. No such luck with the creator though, we are actually going to have to do this one properly. Well, almost properly.
I was gonna say, it's hard to say we're doing it properly when we're already doing actual damage to his numbers without the attack multiplier.
I mean, don't forget, he doesn't turn that stuff on until the 3rd phase, I think? I forget the numbers. The reason I forget the numbers is because I decided to bring back Ether Snipe for this event. It's surprisingly difficult to get really good bounces here. Your options pretty much are limited to hitting the back wall once, or if you want to be really flash, you can try and go for the corners. But for whatever reason, this room is considered to be infinite, so you can't bounce it off of the skybox. But if you can land any of that stuff on him, you can absolutely phase skip him just as fairly as you can phase skip any other boss. There's just the small problem of having to take literally no damage for the entire fight. Asterisk. Because I'm not fully insane, I am capable of basic pragmatism, so I made fire my default move for this, and I absolutely leaned on the once more skill to try and survive. The good news is I actually think I made a pretty fair run at this. We'll see the number of times I actually got hit. Needless to say, when I was practicing for this, which I will not reveal the number of hours expended upon, I wound up using the once more ability like 10 or 12 times per encounter. Just because Gotham's rebalanced this absolutely does not mean that I'm not still capable or willing to cheat. Apollo really had the right of it. I narrowly missed a phase skip here, but don't give up, just keep shooting. Because if you can get in before those numbers start ticking up, you can absolutely still tick the phase over. This game. I don't consider this to be cheating because Witch Time only activates when you do a perfect dodge, so I would have survived that anyway. Half the problem with this fight is that some of these super attacks are very difficult to deal with. Now, what I just did there basically was cheating. I ate some health regen. Remember that the once more ability regenerates when you have literally any health, and increasing your health regen makes your regen tick faster. So, if I wanted to, I could have taken an arbitrary number of hits as long as those hits were like a second or two apart. But as it was, I dodged it all anyway, so morally it's completely fine. There I took a hit. That was it. That was the hit. Sorry, I cheated after all. I am a fake gamer. I'm so sorry, everyone. Anyway, that's how we take out Gotham with only billions of hit points. Emily.
You know, I appreciate that every time Emily says anything regarding Psychopath Leah, she always has the dead eye stare.
Vibes forever.